A new revelation has prompted President Trump's legal team to call for a second special counsel to investigate the investigators. This after we have learned that demoted Justice Department official Bruce Ohr had even closer ties than previously known to Fusion GPS. That's the firm behind the anti-Trump dossier. We now know that Ohr's wife worked for Fusion GPS during the election. Well, that's as close as you get. Ohr was demoted last week after it was revealed that he concealed meetings he had with the men behind that dossier. Now that Trump's legal team knows who Ohr's wife worked for, they say there needs to be an investigation. Robert Driscoll is a former Justice Department official who served as Deputy Assistant Attorney General under President George W. Bush. And you say, Robert, this is a big deal. Why?
Well, I mean, I think this is pretty clearly a conflict of interest to the extent Mr. Ohr was working on matters related to Trump and the dossier. I mean, this is not a run-of-the-mill conflict of interest. I mean, in Washington all the time, people have spouses that might work at a big law firm that has some involvement in a case. But those are huge institutions that don't necessarily have a conflict in all cases, even though there might be a bad appearance. I mean, here, Fusion is, from my understanding, a 10-person operation, maybe at most. And to have a senior DOJ official spouse working there and then have that same DOJ official involved with some of the meetings really doesn't look good. I mean, I have a lot of faith in the department as an institution, but this is really a bad look for the department and something that should have been avoided.
Yeah, when you talk about how small that operation is, it's quite possible that other people on the team at GPS would have known about this connection between the DOJ and his wife working at the company. So what does it look like when you bust open conflict of interest like this? Like, what is the accountability for this? What should it be?
Well, I mean, there's conflict of interest criminal statutes, and I don't think we know enough to know whether any of those apply. There could be, you know, an obligation to recuse. But really, in some sense, the damage has been done because, you know, the problem is the credibility of whatever work Mr. Ohr did will now be thrown into question by people who don't like how it came out. I mean, this is why you want to avoid these situations. It's not just that you're worried someone's going to do something for the wrong reasons. It's that you've tainted the, you know, to some extent, you've tainted whatever he touched, having to do with this dossier, whether or not it's true or valid or not. You look at it and it just doesn't seem right.
Well, and maybe even wider than that. I mean, I don't know what other cases he worked on, but my goodness, this goes to judgment, doesn't it? I mean, we all know what a conflict of interest looks like, and I would think for him, he would especially know. I want to talk about this special counsel situation, though. Not everybody's on board with that. Here's Congressman Trey Gowdy on the issue.
I'm in a small universe of people that doesn't think we need one. I got friends on the other side, but the folks running the Department of Justice now aren't the ones who ran it under President Obama. These are Trump people. So special counsel just means we either don't think you can do your job, and the women and men that we pay millions of dollars to run the DOJ, so we're going to find somebody who's not part of DOJ and give them a bunch of FBI agents. And oh, by the way, the FBI's got some issues right now.
So that's kind of a fresh perspective here, because these are people who've come into place since the president took office, and wouldn't you want to give them a chance, as I understand the congressman to be saying, to do their job? Or do you put in a special counsel? Your thoughts?
I disagree with the notion of putting in a special counsel. I would agree with Congressman Gowdy. I mean, I think that because of the political ramifications, people want a special counsel, mainly for political reasons, because then there's a sense of equivalency about there being a special counsel on both sides. But the congressman is right in that really the only reason you should have a special counsel is if the DOJ can't do the job in that particular case. And in this case, I mean, the Inspector General of DOJ could look into this. Public Integrity at DOJ could look into this. And there's not the same kind of conflict. It's not as though the top levels of this Justice Department, the political appointees, are being investigated and can't be trusted to do a good job. So in my mind, I would disagree with the appointment of special counsel, which doesn't mean I don't think the matter's serious and shouldn't be investigated. To the contrary, I think it should be. But I think that, you know, the congressman is right. You're paying people a lot of money to do this kind of stuff. There are whole units set up to do these kind of investigations. Let's let them do the work and see. And any notion that, I mean, the Justice Department now under Trump, there should not be a huge risk that they're protecting people from the prior administration.
Robert Driscoll, you used to work there, former DOJ official. We appreciate your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you, Harris.